Welcome, everyone. Welcome to all of you, and welcome to our friends online. Can you hear me? Can you hear me and you're just ignoring me, perhaps, because you've had to listen to me the whole day? I understand that. I also am really excited to hear the buzzing of everyone talking to each other. It's clear that we haven't seen each other for almost 2 years, so we're so keen on talking to each other, but we also have our program, and I'm really excited to see that you've been able to make these connections. I want to welcome everyone online, and I want to acknowledge our friends from Costa Rica. Please wave at us. They are joining us. Thank you so much for joining us from a conference center in Costa Rica. Now, before we start with our closing ceremony, I want us all to arrive back here in the room, whether physically or virtually. So I would like to give the floor back to James to play for us. Give him a warm round of applause as he plays. Thank you so much, James, for playing that piece. I think we all recognize it. And doesn't it match so well with our table of abundance? Just to bring it back to pop culture, who here has watched Bridgerton? It matches so well, this type of sound and this type of table. I wish I was wearing one of those wigs. Anyway, thank you. I hope we're all checked in and ready, because we've been doing something really profound. We've been connecting, we've been collaborating, we've been crafting things together. But before we start with our pitches, I would like to sit at the table of abundance and invite some guests to have a little discussion. I would like to invite Wilma van Esch to join me here at the table, Guido Landheer to join me here as well, and Eva Koffeman. Please join me. Yeah, pick a spot. It'll be your spot. With a mic, please, yes, because you will be speaking. Yeah. Yeah, well, please do sit there, wherever feels, yes, thank you, this is mine. Yeah, yeah, no, this is good. Wilma, thank you so much for joining us. You're quite a busy person, and thank you to Guido and Eva. Thank you so much. So we've been collaborating, as I said, and we've been trying to craft solutions together. And I think many of us, especially before the pandemic, went to many events where we ended the event saying, the way to solve this is to collaborate, right? We always end there. Now, Lynn and I and the team that developed this program, we thought, how can we go beyond? How can we start the conversation from where we left it off maybe 2 years ago before the pandemic? We should collaborate. How do we go beyond that? How will we now actually collaborate? What are the things that are missing, would you say, Wilma? Can I call you Wilma? Or
yes.
Miss?
No, please call me Wilma.
Okay. You're from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, by the way. It was on the screen. Yeah.
I'm Wilma van Esch. I'm from Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I'm heading the Food Security Division. First of all, I want to say I'm very happy I joined today. I could join today. I'm only 6 weeks in my job, so you can imagine it's for me a kind of eye-opener, and meeting you and hearing the stories and seeing all your different perspectives was very helpful for me, and also seeing your faces finally face to face. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Yes, and then the very difficult question about partnerships, working together. I think that's the question. We have been talking about it for, I think, 30 years in development cooperation. It's not new. We always say, let's collaborate, let's work together, let's have partnerships, strategic partnerships, preferably. And it's very difficult, because I think every group, every person has different interests, and it's in a sense, it's important to find a common goal. And long before, I'm already older, and long before we had the MDGs and the SDGs, before that we had the Paris Aqua Agenda. And I don't know, maybe some of you still remember that. That was a kind of attempt to find a way of working together, to do it more effectively, and to say that everything we do, we should, in developing countries, we should align with what the government and what partners in the country are willing, the alignment agenda, the ownership agenda, and we had the harmonization agenda. So a kind of sector-wide approach that in a partner country we would come together in the sector from the NGO world, from knowledge center, from government, and together see what could we do in that sector and how to work together. So I just gave this example to indicate that we have been trying very hard, and that's why this is such a difficult question, because we need to do better. Because if you come to the countries, you see that there are still many difficulties. So I think if for me, maybe I can quickly say 3 points very briefly. For me, it's about accepting that we have different interests, and agreeing that we have different interests, and maybe looking at political economy analysis. Well, also in the countries themselves, you have many different parties with many interests. This morning it came also up a couple of times in the presentations. So, and based on these different interests, what is then our common goal? So how to find our common goal, how to join around this common agenda, and also to make them, do we feel that the ownership and the demands in the country should be leading, and when do we leave it to them? So a common goal and a kind of common strategy about how to work together, and accepting that besides that common goal, there are many other things people are doing. So, and I think then the third point is also coming up this morning and also this afternoon in various discussions, and that's that word respect and trust. So how can we create more respect and trust among each other? Because if we really want to collaborate, I think, then we need that. So, so I think that are my 3 points.
Your 3 points, and very valuable ones. Thank you so much for that, Wilma. Yes, you
Can I just ask some clarification?
Yeah,
That's why I'm here, sitting here. Can you give an example of a situation where you have different interests but a common goal? Because I can't think of any. How can it be that you have different interests but still a very shared, strong goal?
If I can talk from my own experience, which is not necessarily directly related to my job at hand at the moment, but I was at the embassy in Ghana for some time, and I worked in the national resource sector. And we were discussing a lot about how to stop the illegal deforestation. So how to end that. I think the government, they saw that the tropical forests were reducing in size. They saw that had effects on the water quality. Of course, they had less and less timber. So they saw all the difficulties. But on the other hand, a lot of people had a job. There was, in the illegal sector, a lot of people were working in it. So as government, can you stop that without... So how to find a way of getting the interest of the industry? So they had to come on board. They had the interest of the government. They had the interest of the civil society and the communities surrounding those forests. And how to bring them together and seeing like that you can find an interest which joins all the people. So and in the end, we did manage to get kind of one common goal, and then we could group together around.
Yeah, very interesting, and maybe also a homework assignment for NFP in our community to see the different interests and still distill the common goal from it. Thank you.
Yeah, so Guido, you joined us this afternoon, and I'm curious, for you, when it comes to collaboration and forming common goals, what are some of your insights when it comes to these rather complex, we say, let's collaborate, and we don't do it?
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I must say I'm also very pleased to be here. The point is, let's collaborate, and I think it's also, I'm working on the transition of the whole food system. Mm-hmm. That's really a big, what they call it, a big, hairy, audacious goal, and it's too big for people to understand. And that's the reason I think you have to untangle that word, because the change of the food system, that means, are you talking about consumers, are you talking about producers, the farmers, what can government do, etc. So first you have also for cooperation, you have to untangle where are you talking about. Mm-hmm. Is it cooperation to help to get for the farmers a better price, or for instance for the consumers to pay affordable price? So untangle the whole project. So think big.
And be specific.
But also to collaborate. What the government can do is to convene parties together. One thing the government can do, except making legislation and subsidies, is if we invite people, most of the time they come. Yeah. So if, for instance, in Nigeria, we invite World Bank, the FAO, local farmers, Dutch SMEs, they will be on the table. Not such a table like this, but also at the embassy on a table. And then we can discuss what can we do, for instance, on food waste. Untangle the problem on food waste. We stick together, we can make an agenda and make things work. For instance, I mentioned Nigeria. Mm-hmm. Work on food waste. I know companies are making a business case on this issue. So that's a way to let's cooperate, make it small, think big, make it small, and then with a common agenda, as a government we can convene, and that's the first step to cooperation.
Yeah, well, what I also hear you say is work from your strength, because
Sure.
you have identified that your strength is to be a convener. If I, Amma, would just show up and call the government, they won't come. But if you, as a ministry from the Netherlands, say that, they will. So it's also like untangle, come together, have a common goal, but also work from your strength and know your interests. So these are very important pieces of the puzzle that we are gathering here. Now, Eva, I can just call you Eva? Miss Koffeman.
Yeah. No, I'm Eva.
Okay. You're a food hero and the youth representative to the UN here in the Netherlands.
On the theme of biodiversity and food.
Biodiversity and food. Do you have any reflections to share with us when it comes to your experiences when at the UN and as a young person, when it comes to this very complex issue, this word that comes out of our mouth so easily, but it seems so difficult to do, collaboration?
I think from my perspective, well, at the youth level, we've always seen that if you bring youth together from different countries, I think that's where the most interesting conversations come up, where you try to bring people together with different backgrounds. And of course, at a UN level, I also know how difficult it can be to collaborate because everyone has different interests, of course. But I mean, if you're going to try to change the global food system, you're going to have to collaborate. That's, that's crucial. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as I'm listening to everyone talking, there's something that is not being said in some of this complexity that you are addressing and some of the things that stand in the way when we talk about different interests. There are, of course, power dynamics involved here as well. We talked about this, especially in the third panel with Lynn. How do we address this? Because, you know, you as a government, as a Dutch government, can convene people in Nigeria around a topic. Could a Nigerian ministry convene people just as easily in the Netherlands, I wonder? And how can we address this rather... Why are you laughing? It can't happen. Why?
Serious.
Yes. How can we address this power imbalance as we move forward? Because to collaborate, you have certain interests. These interests have weight. I want us to have a little, let's not get into it because we want to be invited again for another conversation. But let's talk a little bit about shifting power. How could we address power imbalances when we are collaborating? Tough question.
Crickets.
How can we, but yeah. Is there something there?
That's what I meant a little bit with that word ownership. So I think the power balance is there. It's not something you can be aware of and you be conscious of. That's also why I say the political economy, because it's not only power balances between us and some of the developing countries, but it's also within the country there are a lot of power imbalances. So I think understanding the power balances, be aware of them, be conscious, try to make it explicit. And then I think for me the ownership agenda is very important. And to come back on the Food System Summit, I have high hopes, correct or not correct, I don't know yet, that those national pathways which are being developed could help us to really link up with what is demand and what is coming out of the dialogue in the countries themselves. So that would help us probably to, it won't change the power dynamics, but we can be aware of it and we can try to do our best to link up with the local agenda.
Yeah, okay, so this ownership will address it, but it won't necessarily change it, the power dynamics. This is, can we change power dynamics? I'll let you think about it. I like it when I'm talking to somebody and they sigh so deeply. Yeah.
Please join. Are you willing to join a panel and we're going to talk about some issues? And
This was not in your briefing, was it?
No, I mean, I don't expect you to solve. I don't expect you to solve it, but I do want to get a sense that these are things that we think about. That we think about when we are doing our work. So it's not. I'm not looking necessarily for you to say no, but I have the solution or I don't. But more to get a sense of your experiences around these types of imbalanced collaborations.
Well, about the imbalance in the topic, for instance, in seed development. That's for the local farmers in developing countries very important. So you know that there's the empower difference between local authorities, local farmers, and so on. You have to be aware of that. And you can focus also, because you can play a role there. Already we can invite, for instance, the local farmers. Of course, you have to engage also with local authorities. But in your acts, you can, if you are aware of the imbalance, you can play with it.
Yeah.
With respect, of course, of the local circumstances. Because from Europe, and you're going to only invite local farmers, it's not also good. So you have to be aware of the system and can change a little bit about it. And, for instance, work with local farmers and to empower them.
Yeah.
And I think to empower them also in the whole chain against supermarkets and so on.
Yeah.
So that's
really
where you can play a small role in changing the power balance.
Dynamics. Yeah, exactly.
Amma.
Yeah.
It's time for our first pitch.
Oh,
Pitch.
no, pitch. Yes. Okay. Lynn feels the temperature is going too high, so she's helping us bring it down a
never.
little bit. Because we've been working in different groups on these themes, and we've come up with ideas, and we've had a little taste of collaborating. We didn't put in necessarily power dynamics in there, but we've gone through this, and we've had hard talks. Very important issues have been raised before we went into these topic challenge sessions. And you've come up with ideas, and you've developed pitches. So I would like to start by inviting the first pitch from Healthy and Sustainable Food Choices. The first pitcher, please come, take the stage. A warm round of applause, because when you woke up this morning, you didn't know you'd be doing this. Oh, yeah. Oh, you don't have
And we can invite you to be James here. And I want to invite everyone else to have your Mentimeter ready. You here, and also people watching at home. And it's a very important tool. It's a very serious tool, the way we're going to use it now, because it's meant to uplift the solution direction that's being presented with your resources, your ideas, your connections, your potential role in what the person here is going to present. We can together see how we can elevate it. So that's what the Mentimeter is for right now. And on the second page of your Mentimeter, after you put in your idea, you can also leave your email address if you want to be connected to this group. So that's just the practicalities. Can we invite you to be here?
I'll pass it on. Do you want some water? Thank you.
Should we start with an applause?
Yeah. No, and I think we need to invite the rest of our table guests to join us here.
As well. Yes.
Yeah.
There's
Please
some
join us,
empty
Charles,
seats
Michel.
here.
Yeah.
Charles and Myrtille, we're bringing you back.
Yes, bringing you back so that we can react. Yeah, a warm round of applause for them. And let's support our pitchers.
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Nout van der Vaart. I work with Oxfam Novib, and we are standing here together representing the group of healthy and sustainable food choices. Over to you, Sophie.
Yes, thank you. My name is Sophie. I'm a master student nutrition in health in Wageningen University, and I'm currently doing my internship at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs at the Department of Food Security, the Department of Wilma. And indeed, we're talking about healthy and sustainable food choices. And we started with my little group, we started to look at the situation of Ida that we see here on the screen. And her situation is that she doesn't have enough time or money she really wants to provide healthy food to her little daughter, but she doesn't have the time and the money to do this. And we first looked at the level of the event, but it's, of course, she's not alone. It's not only Ida who is facing this problem. There are like 1 billion Idas in the world. So we decided to look at the community level and focusing on urban areas. And what we saw there is that the community feeling that we see a lot in rural areas, where people really help each other, take care of their children, that is a bit lost in cities. And I think also food is, of course, not only about, well, we already discussed that it's not only about calories, also nutrients, but also about the social occasion of eating together. And that's also what we wanted to address. So we came up with a community food hub, a place where we combine the cooking with the gardening and also the daycare. So that is really a place where you learn from the start how to eat, how to cook, and also how to share this with each other. As we all know, nutrition food is very important for the young ones. Over to you.
Yes, okay. So community food hubs to bring back also the social cohesion to the less privileged neighborhoods in the big cities. So what would we need for it? How would that look like? So basically what would be needed to establish or develop those kind of places would be obviously resources that might partially come from the public sector, from governments, from municipal government that might want to stimulate the re-establishment of community food hubs, decentralized, but also from private actors, from local people themselves, philanthropic institutions, NGOs, and to increase the community ownership of the place, which in our opinion is very important for the place to be sustainable. We thought of the idea also of integrating the element of membership. So every community member would opt to become a member, paying a very small fee to make it, not too high threshold, obviously, but to increase also the community, part of it, basically the community feeling for it to be owned also by the community. That's one element we thought of. Let me think if there's other things that we might want to share here. Fill me in.
Well, I may have one addition that maybe you know a place where they have a community garden or where they have a community kitchen. That idea itself is not new, but I think it's a wrong idea that we need only new, innovative ideas to improve the food security status. So therefore we go back to what we know, and we want to institutionalize this and embed it in the urban areas as well.
Yes, so bring healthy food back to the communities again, back to close to home, basically. I guess that's the core of it. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this pitch. Now, for those of you not, join us. For those of you not in the room, you need to understand that the people who have pitched have gone through a process in different groups in which they have filtered out, developed ideas and filtered out an idea that they believe in as a group, as a thematic group on this. So this is the first idea that has come out. You are sitting at our table of abundance. Welcome. And I would like to get some reactions from you, because we would like to react. We'd like to enrich.
Maybe before, just to check, did you guys see the Menti code already that you can use?
No, not yet.
Can we have that on the screen? So while the special guests react, you guys can also react.
Thank you very much. Yes, there it is, 7330866. And the question we have for you as you're reacting, and that we have here at the table, is how can you connect to this idea? How can you enrich this idea? Perhaps you know that this idea fits into an ecosystem that you are aware of or connected to. So let's have this conversation. Perhaps, Charles, you want to react first? Yeah? No mic for you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I love this idea. It's something very close to heart, and actually it's proven to be very effective. For example, in Brazil, there's this project called Gastromotiva, who actually found a way to direct food surplus of a city, right? Whether it is through supermarkets whose food might be going to to waste. Before that happens, it goes to this community center, community kitchen. There are mentors, food educators, chefs that go there and teach young folks who are actually building their capacity, professional capacity to become chefs. And then the meals are free for the community. In this case, it's for people who live in the streets, right? So I see something really powerful here, as in just creating a mechanism to articulate the nutrients that we have around the city and in the city, and provide capacity for families, for mothers, for kids, and also just a space. Like hundreds and thousands of years ago, we evolved, and where do we gather? Around a fire, right? Sharing knowledge, sharing songs, and culture, and sharing food. That's a base of our humanity, and modern cities do not provide spaces for such interactions. So this is a great idea.
Great.
Myrtille really wants to...
Yeah, for the Mentimeter reactions, great that you're working on it. If you have something, use the platform I work in to encourage and enlarge this. Please add what it is, how we can find it, or you.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. And one of the things that I liked very much of what you explained at the end was that it's often not about bringing innovative things. Like we are like always getting crazy about that it has to be completely different from what has been there. And it's a lot actually about adaptation, replication, and scaling. So, and I've seen in many countries actually these initiatives being revived. Because indeed the urban areas is so different from the rural areas, and very much in these spaces of urban spaces there is the opportunity to do something, but it needs to be guided. It needs to be facilitated. So I wanted to give like one example that can be connected to this idea, and that is that we're supporting the Ghana Urban Food Movement. It's an initiative of like 10 to 15 organizations at the local level that work on creating consciousness of the importance of healthy food, what we've heard about today, but also how you can cultivate food in the urban context. How can you distribute it then? How do you scale it up? How do you talk to local policymakers just to introduce it in more areas? And the reason why we are supporting it is because we like it that it's a local movement. We want to support them there, but we also hope that we can replicate this experience in other contexts. The second thing that I wanted to mention there is that the Netherlands here also has things to offer. Mm-hmm. For instance, I've worked together with Rijkswaan in the context of CUA, where we worked on food and nutrition security. And they have very interesting school feeding program where they support actually not only with inputs, with seed material, but also with how to cultivate, how to create consciousness with children. They have a lovely campaign also that's called Love My Salad, also to stimulate children and adults to appreciate vegetables and fruits. So I think that there are like interesting things that you can connect to it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for these first reactions. We have our friends in Costa Rica waiting, yes, and waiting and waving. And I would love to hear more reactions about this theme. But first, I would like to invite them to join us here and to give us their pitch, and they have a video for us. Alfredo, over to you.
Despite having a rich gastronomic tradition, Latin America has high rates of malnutrition and overweight. Costa Rica is no exception. Lack of time, education and information, and the expansion of processed products and fast food are among the causes. The COVID-19 pandemic exacerbates this situation. For World Food Day, we visit the central market of Costa Rica to dialogue and understand this reality. We were joined by specialists, nutritionist Maria Bolaños, the chefs Juan Carlos Delgado and William Chamorro, and Alfredo Echeverria, specialist and representative of Fucoga. In their company, we talked with Luis, who has been a greengrocer here for 40 years.
A las nuevas generaciones los atrapó las transnacionales, las comidas rápidas, con el bajo presupuesto que tiene la mayoría del pueblo. Ha comprado mucho embutido en lugar de pescado, de otros tipos de comida más sana.
We talked to Ricardo Garita about processed spices.
Hay sobrecitos que ya son puros preservantes.
Porcentaje de sodio altísimo, puede ser 25% de lo que usted tiene que comer en un día.
And we also met Liliana Álvarez, a household manager.
Es un reto eliminar cosas que no son saludables. ¿Usted considera los productos de temporada a la hora de pensar en preparar su menú?
Definitivamente, y por la salud económica de la casa también.
Then we went to the Costa Rica Convention Center.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Soy el chef Marco Barbosa. Bienvenidos al Día Mundial de la Alimentación. El día de hoy vamos a prepararle 3 recetas con ingredientes que encontramos en el mercado central de Costa Rica.
We created 3 dishes designed for a family with children. They needed to be visually attractive, traditional while innovative, sustainable and healthy. We found food on the market to prepare these recipes, to show that it's possible to create healthy menus at an affordable cost and avoid processed products and fast food. There are many causes to our problems, but many solutions as well, and this is one of them, to face the challenges we have to be a nourished and healthy Latin America and Costa Rica.
Thank you so much for this. Can you speak, Alfredo?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
You've been so
Hello,
quiet. I
hello.
wanted to make sure.
I was just waiting.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes. So greetings from Costa Rica in the World Food Day. And thank you, the Netherlands Food Partnership, for this great opportunity. We are here at the Convention Center, and I have here Marco Barbosa. He's a young, passionate chef. And we, as you saw, we work with other chefs and nutritionists and professionals to prepare this outcome. Basically, we are passionately want this to happen because we have the ability to imagine a better life. And we, as conscious human beings, deserve and have the right to have this life that, a better life. So our idea is to highlight the challenges and visualize the solutions. Well, one of these is to prove that Maria is a real person, our target consumer, that she can prepare healthy menus at low cost with what we can get at the central market in San Jose. So we're talking about the urban, environment. And what we found in Maria, actually this real person, is that there's a lack of time to buy or prepare food, lack of information and knowledge of which are the healthiest foods, about where to find the right food, the knowledge of how to prepare from a culinary standpoint, and knowledge to combine the different foods to take advantage of that combined value of nutrients when prepared, when prepared together. And also the lack of data on traceability of food and to validate the origin and quality. And this is also something very important. The myth of social pressure exerted by the family and people around Maria in the case of a new mother on the way to feed her child. The other thing is the loss of values, traditions, which causes a departure from healthy eating practices. And we saw it from what we call the casado, which is a staple food in Costa Rica. And before it was a very nice and very nutritious combination of food. And now there's been a substitute of those, and we still call it casado, but it doesn't have the same nutritional value. And the other thing is the distortion of reality. Disinformation caused by the massive advertising campaigns of the fast food sector that emphasize the benefits, quote unquote, of those consumption. And obviously, what we all experiencing around the world is the economic situation that is accelerated by the effect of the pandemic. So how do we see the solutions to this? The group, we got together and have a very interesting conversation. Well, first of all, we thought that Maria has to be empowered. So education, in order to counteract the effect of misinformation and lack of information and knowledge. So we thought that using digital media, in other words, to access the person. Now, everybody's connected now. So this young mother can be connected. And as a matter of fact, our Maria, which is a very good example, have been working in the computer and accessing YouTube videos. So we thought that to create, use digital media, as I said, and make healthy eating fashionable through national strategies supported by influencers and other media icons, and to create digital guides to gain access to information on the issues raised. For example, YouTube courses, very easy to understand, with titles as example as "What is a healthy menu?" 3 steps to build your healthy menu, how to combine food to enhance their nutritional value, myth of infants feeding, or healthy and fun eating for children. And there are a list of, we came up with a 15, 20 list of titles. Other idea is to provide information in shopping centers, supermarkets, farmers markets about healthy solutions. When we found at the market that actually the lady that we encountered, it was the first time that she was going to the market. And when I asked the question, she says, well, I'm trying to find where do I go? And so this information, the guide, when you are at the point of sales, where do I go? What do I buy? If they have the previous information, if they're empowered with knowledge, they can then look for it. So promote food traceability and make producers visible to sensitize products and know their origin and value. Other idea is to standardize criteria among actors that influence the environment through consensus activities to unify definitions that improve communication with the public. As a matter of fact, we're organizing a forum as a consequence in November. You will be invited to come up with really us, the people that have information and publicize this information to have a standard knowledge of this. The other thing is to impact public policy. So we thought that increasing the number of nutritionists, professionals in positions of influence in different central and local government entities will then get close to the public. And the emphasis on nutrition in the public campaigns on the different ministries. So to integrate the importance of nutrition into regional strategies and local governments. The other idea was to encourage the creation of family vegetables home gardens. So Maria could have available there, fresh. And actually Maria is doing that already. So those are ideas, promote the articulation among organizations, public and private alliances, community and associations. Well, that's my pitch.
Oh, wow, it worked.
Perfect timing.
Thank you, Alfredo.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Alfredo, and thank you for your ideas and for your very beautiful video, and you have ideas for everybody, how they can respond to this. I would like to give Charles an opportunity to respond, and then Eva an opportunity to respond.
And if people in the audience want to respond to Alfredo, see if you can help him ahead, just add Costa Rica to your Mentimeter response so that we know what's for whom.
Do we need the code for Mentimeter again?
You still got it, I think.
Yeah. For people online. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
I also... enable some healthy and sustainable food choices in the meantime. Go ahead.
Saludos, buenos días a todos por allá en Costa Rica. So, yeah, I find there's a lot of resonance because with the realities of Colombia and the realities of Costa Rica, for example, and I feel the same challenges. And there's something beautiful in what you were sharing, and it's the importance also to reconnect people to the identity, the ancestral identity of their land, right? There are traditions that have been working for, hundreds of years, some of them, some others that we inherit from colonization that maybe need some rethinking because they have, a baggage that is not necessarily designed for health, whether of the ecosystem or people. But there's something really beautiful about when we really address sustainable food choices, we're also empowering the identity of the people in their relationships to land. right? And I almost think that this idea of ecosystem thinking or ecosystem cooking or eating is really important, because it really, signifies the connection of a people to their land, and there's something really special there that makes every solution unique to every landscape.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. This ecosystem thinking is really important to think through. Eva, I haven't given you an opportunity to react to either of the two pitches.
Thank you. I actually wanted to connect them because, hi Alfredo, by the way, thank you for your pitch. I think there were some great ideas, and I think especially the educational aspect of it would be a great addition to the other pitch as well. So if you teach women like Maria and Aida to how to prepare healthy, nutritious meals, I think this is a great solution for the future as well, because if you teach them, their children will benefit from it, and their children will benefit from that, because that knowledge will stay in the family. Yeah. So I think it will be a great combination.
Yeah, exactly. So really a simple, essential response really would help. Well, thank you all so much. Thank you to the pitchers. Thank you to you pitchers. Thank you to the Costa Rican pitchers. And while Jamel and Lynn are spreading out the healthy and sustainable food choices, we would like to go on to our second theme on digitalization.
Yes.
So I would like to invite the pitchers to join us here on the stage. Please give them a warm round of applause. Yeah, take from the table.
Please feel free to eat it.
I hear the cheerleaders. You can join them on the stage so that they feel supported if you would like. Join them. There's time.
Ja, hallo allemaal. Ik ben Lisanne.
In English, please, because we have some people online. Yeah, sorry.
Hi everyone. So my name is Lisanne. I'm from the World Food Forum, from the FAO. It's a youth platform that just launched. And I also work for FME. It's a branch organization for the technological industry in the team of agricultural, water and food. We worked on this part of digitalization, and I will also like to give the floor to Britt.
Yeah, so my name is Britt. I work for Bob Pink. We work on inclusive business models in last mile markets. And today in our session, in our breakout, we looked at the situation of Nana. Nana is a female farmer in a developing market. And Nana's problem is that she is looking for information about how to improve her farming, how to make sure that she uses the right pesticides, but also weather information, services. And there's an abundance of apps that she could use, but none of them really fit her needs, and she doesn't know where to look. So sometimes the starting point is where to look is what is the simplest solution, which is make one access point for Nana. So we came up with an ethical super platform in the form of a chatbot, which Nana can access. She can ask her question, what she wants to know, and the chatbot will refer her to whatever source of information or app that actually provides this. It will be independently owned, so it's not, you don't have the information being curated by a commercial party. And on the other hand, she will give feedback on the information and on the apps that will go back to the app developers. Because what we see, there's a lot of apps, but it doesn't really fit her local situation. So in that way, it will also improve. And Lisanne is going to explain now how we're planning to do this.
Yeah, so you already explained a little bit about it. So it's an independent platform, or maybe I should call more like a plugin, because it's a chatbot which can, for instance, fit into a low-key entry point. So you can, for instance, fit it into social media like Facebook, because we talked about that is often what people use. They don't sometimes they don't install even the apps. So if you have an entry point, then they can see which app then fits best the need. And you can also then directly locate it to local language, because also that's very important to make it a low barrier. And as was already said, it's important you have this feedback loop, because on the one hand you have the app developers that they want to create good apps. So if they get feedback from the farmers, they can update their apps and they can create better content, which can then, on the other hand, can be used by the farmers so that they can have good input for the app, which is context specific on that local area. And because it's in their local language, they can also use it. And based under this is a machine learning algorithm, so AI, which is created by local talent. So you can the platform or the chatbot function can create it in direct relation with universities or schools in the local area, so that you make use of the talent that is there. And so it's important that it's a self-learning algorithm. So if the farmer, for instance, he asks a question, then the algorithm can see, oh, this question is asked very often. So it's self-developing, but on the other hand, the app developer can see, oh, they often look at this specific question, so maybe I can fit more to that need. And then what you need is like someone to create it or own it, the platform, like a partner in that, and that can, for instance, we thought about the NFP, for instance. But you need someone to develop it with, and that can, of course, then be with local talent. That's nice. Our idea.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think the beauty of it is that it's really scalable. So you can have farmer outreach through MFIs, like they have agents that go by the farms, but you can also give it to agriculture input providers that have agents that go by, and they can onboard different users, and then it can go through markets really quickly.
Yeah. Wow. I think Vivian would like the sound of this.
It sounds really great. Please join us here at the table. Sorry, Lynn, we keep...
It's okay.
But we can also switch so that I sit on the edge one time.
Very, very okay.
You're okay?
Don't worry about it.
So we have our audience on Mentimeter who is still invited to think of ways that we can enrich this idea, or ways that it connects to you, or something that you know that is similar that they should know about, to really carry this forward. Because once again, we're looking for breakthrough solutions. We're looking for ways to create these shifts, to create this transformation. Now, here in the room, we have Guido, who the temperature is lower now, and we can have just a conversation about simple things like chatbots. Yeah, thank you.
No more questions about.
Just to interject again.
No, don't worry.
Sorry, Guido and Emma. Again, please add, if your company is public transportation, what company is this? How can we find it? How can we connect to it to make this connection real?
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was a great idea, and it was a great performance with the two of you. I came here this afternoon, and I saw the pitch you were making. It was really inspiring. Maybe 2 points. First is you said that you work for the FME. We have as a Ministry of Agriculture, we work together with FME, the industry branch organization, in the US about smart farming, and it started with just an idea. I think one of your colleagues, Michel, had that idea. Now it's really huge in the US and the Netherlands, more than 500 participants working, academia, companies from the US and the Netherlands, and we try to stimulate innovation in the part of digitization. So I think that's a great example, and maybe that's also an example to put this in place. Make things happen. It started just with an idea, and then, of course, the first phase is crucial. So I think you have to challenge the idea, and to challenge the idea, what is better to do it than to challenge it with the farmers, where it's meant to be the target group. it's maybe, I don't know, in Kenya or Ghana. So first, I think, by way, we can convene a meeting in the embassy to have a discussion with local farmers. And then, if it's a success, you can make to organize a challenge, for instance, with local students, can write a business plan, and just to work from one step, just an idea, to make a big thing, just we have right now between the US and the Netherlands. It could be a great idea, I think, to step up step by step to make this as also a success, because I think it's a very good idea.
Well, great. Look, you got support from
Yeah,
people who can really
great.
make a difference.
I want to hear some support for the support.
Yeah. This is fantastic, and I see on the screen via Mentimeter, there's a digital agri-food collective can support in closing the digital divide for your ethical super platform. And there's also, what if the farmer is illiterate? Could you offer a voice-based service as well?
We had that, yeah. Maybe that's someone from our group, could be. We talked about this, yeah. So that there's already like a text message function, but you can also, I don't know, maybe some of you know, but if there's also already a voice-based possibility on that, but that can also be added to the chatbot, so that you can also use your voice, like what you can do now with your phone, that you can press a button and speak, and the chatbot then also speaks back to you. That could be a function.
No,
and if I may respond to that, I think it's indeed very important that this is then also brought back the idea to the farmers themselves, because we can create for, but we need to create together with. So.
Exactly. No, that's really a beautiful way to close this off. Are there more people here who would like to react to this idea?
Food First.
Food First provides a platform for stakeholders to further discuss and explore the plausibility of the idea. So they're here. So you can continue this discussion with them. And if there are no further reactions at the table, then I would like to invite especially the cheerleaders of this idea to give a very warm round of applause to our pitchers. And invite you, That's how we invite you off the stage as well. So now we have arrived at our third pitch. I would like to invite the third pitcher for living income. Please take the stage. I'm so very curious about your pitch. There's something about a living income that makes people run. And earlier, Michel was also running. Now you're running. Yes, you ran away from your microphone. Please, the floor is yours.
Thanks. Indeed, with our group, we discussed the topic of living income. And we try to put ourselves in the shoes of Louis, who is a representative of his small island state in the discussion, or the battle, you might say, to secure a living income for his farmers and the farm workers within his country. And what we came up with in our group, we had a very good and I think very collaborative discussion. We merged a lot of ideas. In the end, we came up with 2 ideas. What it comes down to for Louis is that there's a few things he wants to keep in mind. He's saying, I need a living income for my farmers because I want my farmers to have a decent life. I want the people of my island to have a decent life. So that's driving him in terms of how you go into these discussions. And there's the first thing that I think would also be very good for him is that he's a caring and he's a considerate person, and he wants to be emboldened by having a vision of what is really a quality and a sustainable agri-food system for his island. So what he needs is a vision that drives him into these discussions and can also help him to link different ideas about how to promote a locally driven food system that's beneficial for the consumers of the island as well as the farmers. And what this means is that it's also about driving an identity creation, a feeling of respect towards his own island and his own state, and sort of reinforcing that and really linking consumers to farmers on that island as well. And secondly, we came up with the idea of prioritizing self-organization. Self-organization within that agri-food system, and especially zoomed in on the farmers. So how can farmers organize themselves? Can be indeed within producer organizations, around inclusive business models, that can be about developing export orientations, but also generating quality improvement and productivity improvement within their own context. That means that it's also something that Louis can facilitate. He can help to organize, he can help to mobilize resources. He can also incentivize that local collaboration by, for instance, working on education. How can local community members buy food from these farmer organizations? Also, can local procurement, whatever small thing that public agencies can offer, can they procure from those farmer organizations to encourage that as well? So in the end, it's about saying, okay, how do we translate this vision towards really empowering and self-organizing those farmers so they can also indeed achieve this better income and also this realization that farming can also be a socially also rewarding activity. That's all.
Thank you very much. Yeah, join us at Lynn. You're welcome. You're good.
Yeah,
on the
I'm
throne?
good. Yeah.
All right.
Exactly. I don't mind.
All right. Then I would like to invite Wilma to give as the first one to give a reaction on how to make this idea successful. What can we add? How can we enrich, connect to this idea?
Okay. Now, first, I was partly in the group, and I saw how it came together, which was pretty amazing, because it started with, there were 4 different ideas, and we should choose one, but the group resisted that, and they were saying, like, no, it's not one of the 4. You need all 4 of them. And I think that, for me, I think that's an essential part, in the sense of, we just spoke also this morning about this food system summit. And it's the system, it's the things, how they are connected. And you need, and I think that came out of the group this afternoon, you need all the different elements. Just one element alone doesn't bring it forward enough. So, and I thought that was amazing that it came out of the group process itself. So also compliments to you how you managed that.
Thank you. Yeah.
So
it's really the group itself, indeed.
Yeah, and so for me the connection would be the food system summit, and I think the national pathways in those food system summits. And I think this idea is great. How we could actually start working with these national pathways. If in the countries those dialogues which have been happening between the different partners would actually lead to national pathways, and we with all our different expertise can support those national pathways and putting those people in the driver's seats as you described, I think we can really make a difference in the food systems. So for me, that is the real connection which I want to mention. And there are very many organizations. Also, we are working with within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, on development cooperation with SNV, with GAIN, with To Scale, who actually help farmers to set up this kind of business models, and with NFP, of course, with different coalitions. So it links very much to some of the initiatives. But thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone? Yes, exactly. I thought.
No, thanks so much, Wilma. You helped to pave my path, I think. Now, I think it's a very important recognition that you need a counterbalancing power, and that you create that by organizing groups. So I think that is very important indeed, and I think that a lot of the development support that is provided, for instance, by the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs with all kind of partners is also contributing to that. What I think that our thinking from the Netherlands Food Partnership and partners of ours can contribute there is that one organizes itself because there is an incentive for that. I think that when we discussed earlier this morning also what is it that can add value to the system is, for instance, information. Information about the needs or the aspirations of these groups, about education, about access to seeds, about access to finance. And then you can connect again, let's say, to all kind of digital devices that can provide that type of information. So one of the outcomes of the run-up towards the Food System Summit is that a couple of organizations that work actually a lot together with smallholder farmers, organizations like IFAD, Rabobank, the Global Producer Organization, they said, we've been supporting so much smallholder groups, and we know that they need all kind of extra support to improve their performance, to get better connected, to get to a better income level. So where is it that we can join forces to really work on access to data, digital solutions? So I think that that is something, that interest of that group that is really an enabler, because they're working on that, could be added, let's say, to your ID, and then help these farmers also really to feel stimulated to organize themselves.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Are there more people here who would like to react to this idea at the table? Yeah, go ahead, Guido.
Well, I think there are 2 political parties right now. 4 political parties are writing a new coalition agreement, hopefully. And you talked about a vision. You talked about locally driven food. You talk about organization of the farmers to also to be countervailing power towards other parties in the chain, supermarkets, for instance. And also the issues like export. Well, I think if you could write it down for me, I take it with me to The Hague and I give it to the negotiators. Because it's not only a problem for the small islands, it's also a problem here in the Netherlands, where there must be the food system is not only broken in other countries, it's also broken in the Netherlands. So I think that is. That's where we have to find solutions to work together. So thank you for the ideas. I take it with me to The Hague. Thank you.
That's great. Well done, group.
Yeah, well,
nice. Thank you.
Thank you
well
so
done.
much for the Guido always offering the impact and action. So thank you very much for this. There are some reactions on Mentimeter that I think Lynn wants to take on.
Well, there's a couple of influencers. It's a trend.
I can't believe you stepped into the trap.
The trap, yeah. But once Guido started talking, people started also thinking seriously about Wageningen can support Louis to analyze the dynamics and trade-offs in this food system so that he knows where to intervene and how. I think that's a beautiful addition. Country ownership, organizing a trade group of small island states to develop a similar approach. Organizations like HAVE to connect to who have experience organizing farmers. I've actually worked with them in Cameroon. So yeah, there are some ideas. And we will capture all of this and give it to NFP and give it to the pitchers so that connections can be made between these different ideas. So thank you for contributing.
Yeah, and I want to thank all of you, everyone online, our friends in Costa Rica, all of you here in the room. You've worked hard.
Yes.
You had an interesting lunch. We fed you, and then you got to work. And you came up with wonderful ideas, and you've pitched those, and hopefully you feel enriched. You feel that your ideas are connected. They fit into an ecosystem where there are more people doing more. So we're not inventing entirely new things. We're connecting. We're building together. And there are people who can carry things forward. There are people who can convene. There are people who can align. And each of us has to play a role in a system. We've said system. I think is the most popular word this whole day. But it's such an important thing to think about because everything is indeed connected, and that has consequences. So it does mean that, there's this old African proverb. There had to be the moment for the African proverb, didn't there?
Yes, can't do without.
There's an old African proverb that says...
She might make it up on the spot, but let's listen.
Pardon?
You might make it up on the spot,
no,
but let's listen.
It exists, you know it. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. That is, in fact, a strategy in how to change a system. Sometimes we must go fast, and we will send Guido alone to The Hague. Sometimes we must go far, and so we invite all of us together to think and come up with ways that we can go far together. And the reason I want to bring this proverb up, is that these things live in us. We have always known these things. That's why we still talk about an old African proverb. Who knows who wrote it? I don't. But we repeat it over and over again. These things live in us. And I hope that today we've demonstrated what lives in us at a minimum. I would like to thank you for joining us at the table and clap for you as you walk back. And I would like to now talk with Myrtille at our table, because I want to know from you, how have you seen the day? What are we carrying forward? What have you, because we started with, these are the things we need to do. We've had the whole day, we've had wonderful speakers, we've had a panel discussion, we've had different perspectives, we've worked in teams, we've talked about what came out of it, we've enriched ideas, we've sat at a table of abundance and probably been thinking, guess who's coming to dinner? But now we want to know, where are we going from here? What are our takeaways?
You have such big questions. Yeah.
And what is NFP going to do about it?
Yeah.
We're going to solve everything.
Of course, yeah.
No, that's too much. Well, I don't know. I mean, this has been a wonderful day. I mean, I entered with curiosity. And I don't know, it has been so inspirational. Just I've heard so many things that I've heard before, but that were phrased in a different way. Things being connected that maybe before were just not connected yet. So I'm still processing a lot of the information in my head. But if I just connect to how I feel at this moment, I feel inspired. I feel with hope. I feel connected. It has been, I mean, probably I speak for everybody, it's a new experience again to be in the same space again with so many people of you with whom I was connected during this last year. So I just, at the beginning I started to do this. Later on in the day, I just started to hug. I said, I just want to feel the people. And that was already great. But for me, one of the things that I said also to some other participants was that it made me feel being in the global south. And that is the feeling that we want to give also. That is what we are working on, that we want to contribute to the opportunities and the challenges in the global south, connecting with things that we can offer, but also learning and just looking at that and seeing like what we can bring from that to us. So I really love the comment of Guido now also saying like, well, you're talking about this guy on this island, but actually I take it with me. And that is, I think, what we as NFP also want to do more. We can work on dairy, for instance, in East Africa, but we need to be clear also on what we think about the meat sector and about the animal fodder sector and problems related to the to deforestation, etc., in the world and how we relate to that. So yeah, so I think that this is like a good start for that. I think that one of the clear things that we wanted and that you have contributed to is just really to see like, okay, we had this whole run up to the Food System Summit and then everybody was just like dizzy of all the things that had happened. But then we said, we are actually the first event after the Food System Summit. So we are the first ones that can say, and now? So I think that this day helped also to connect and to check in with people that were very much connected to that or not and say like, okay, there are country pathways, there are independent dialogue outcomes, there is data there. We have now a much better idea of where there are opportunities and challenges. Let's connect to that. Let's follow up also on the game-changing initiatives that were shared. Let's bring in the right people there. Let's connect very much to the local base. So I think that that was a very important thing also that came out of this. And I think that what you contributed with you and with the whole team that worked on this was the joy of working together. Just like being excited about this. I mean, it's a terrible situation still at the worldwide level. I mean, we have a very big climate challenge. We have a lot of people that suffer of hunger, of malnutrition, a lot of people having terrible income and everything. But still, what I liked very much today was that there were like suggestions to contribute to that, and you can also feel joyful about that, that it gives energy. Because I think that that is what we need also to move forward, the energy. And that is also, I think that what we want to contribute as the Netherlands Food Partnership, to show the opportunities, to look at the challenges, but then also see like, okay, if we create like a different group of people, or if we add like other people to that, could we make the change? Could we do something there? So, so that is what I take away from this day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to throw in another proverb there. An old lady actually in Costa Rica told us, and her name was Joy of all names, she told us there's already enough suffering in the world, and as we respond to it, let's not add more suffering, let's add joyfulness to it. So I'm happy that
Never heard
we got
that
to
one
do
in
that
Costa
today.
Rica, but
She might have made it up.
She made it up.
She made it up. It's beautiful.
Pura vida.
All right, I'm the voice of the clock.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for this, Myrtille, and it's really great to know that NFP will continue to bring people together and create groups and invite new groups and mix it up, because you see the power of convening in different ways and anew. We have come almost to the end of our program, and I want to give the last word to our food hero, Eva, because Eva, you're here, you're almost done being the youth representative to the UN, and I want to know from you, what are we going to do? What should we do as we go home? What should we take with us?
Ooh. Food,
Yeah,
first
definitely.
of all, a lot of food. No, I would like to start by saying that I completely agree with Myrtille, and that it was a very inspiring day. And it was great to come together to celebrate food and to discuss and brainstorm solutions for better food systems in the future. Whether it's true pricing, whether it's a chatbot for farmers, whether it's a food hub, community food hub. But I do feel like we are a green food bubble here. Most of the people that are here have a job that is related to food. So I think it's very important to make sure that this goes beyond our bubble, and that other communities also get involved, because to name it one more time, it's a system change at a societal level. So we're going to need everyone to work along. And I think now the Food System Summer, Food System Summit, Food System Summer as well. Food System Summit is over. I think this is a starting point. So governments now have to come up with concrete and ambitious action agendas, especially in the Netherlands as well, because we haven't really been able to form concrete plans yet, also due to the formation. But I think it's very important that the government will now take action, because our time is up in terms of climate, in terms of biodiversity, in terms of health, in terms of inequality. So yeah, the time really is now. And I think that it's crucial for the government to come with concrete and ambitious plans. And if they don't do that, it's time for us to enforce it, because we're gonna need the change. So yeah. But for now, I would like to thank NFP for organizing this and making this possible. And it was a great day.
Thank you so much, Eva, for also reminding us of our position in the system, and also a little bit referring to what Charles was telling us, or are you Abdella, about revolutions, different types of revolutions. So I hope that you have all had a very positive convening, connection, creating, moving forward, having ideas, sparking ideas, being inspired as we move forward. There are a couple of practical things I have to say to you before we tidy up the table. Who's washing the dishes? The first thing I want to say is that, as you can see, there's lots of food here. If you would go somewhere, you would get goodie bags. We want you to use your paper bags that you got for lunch, fill them up with food. Enjoy a healthy meal with people that you care about. Talk about what we've been doing here. Use the food to bring people together. You know this. It's in you how to do this. You know how to do it. If you don't have a paper bag, don't focus on the paper bag. focus on the meal. There are loads of paper bags around, so find a new paper bag, because we realized that you might probably needed your paper bag at lunch to put the trash from your food in. So please pick a new paper bag. Fill
Or
it
your
up.
own bag.
Yeah, pardon?
Or your own bag.
Or your own bag. It's not... we won't stop you at the door if you don't leave with a paper bag. Fill your own bag or a paper bag. Take whatever you want, because there is more than enough. As Charles told us, we live in a world of abundance that is covered in a veil, an illusion of scarcity. Look around you. There's enough for everyone, if only we would share. Have a great day. Thank you to all of you and to all the organizers. Goodbye.
Yes, and before we, it doesn't work.
It works.
Before we finish, I really would like to thank first Alfredo, muchísimas gracias por tu apoyo, y a Carmen también por organizar todo esto. Siempre Costa Rica primero, muchas gracias. I would like, of course, to thank the support of the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, because without their support, we cannot organize this event. So thank you so much, and also for being here and being always with us. So thank you so much. I would like to thank Dr. Monk and also Pakhuis de Zwijger for being such inspirational partners in this journey. And I really enjoyed it. So let's repeat, I would say. And thank you so much. It was really great having you here and also in the preparations for that. So a very big applause for them.
Yeah, thank you.
And I would like to thank...
thank you.
I would like to thank, of course... I would like to thank very much, of course, my great team. They are very humble, so they just walk away. But Babette and Annette, you did the impossible thing, so a big applause for them. And for all the people behind that, so there's Helene and Tamar and Uru and Carmen and Nicole and well, so many people that helped you to make this happen. So great job. You can relax now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it was great. And thank you all for being here, staying here, and stay here also a bit longer, because we're going to have a nice drink and a nice laugh, and yeah, just like doing the networking, which is so important, being these activities. Thank you so much. I loved your stories and your performance. Can we give them a big applause?
Yeah.
And thank you for the artist also making this decor so beautiful.
We're also going to destroy the chandelier and eat it. So please help us
let's
do
eat
that.
the thing. And I want to just short promo. We worked this year with the Dutch Design Academy on an exposition, like an assignment for them to think about food system challenges and the food system summit that happened, and we are very happy because part of the exposition is being presented at the Dutch Design Week next week. So if you happen to have the opportunity to go there, don't miss that exposition. Today they also explained a little bit about it in one of the lunch sessions, but if you feel like it, just go there, because also design gives a different perspective on how we think about food access, food production, etc. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, Myrtille.
Oh, and of course, your music. How could I forget about you? And I also wanted to thank you. Thank you so much. Great, thank you so much. I loved it. And you also, thank you for coming here, and I hope that you will stay here also a bit longer and have the opportunity to interact with everybody. Thank you so much. Let's go for the drinks.